Hello and welcome to my channel. I am San D1 and today I'll be talking about some basic etiquettes that you need to maintain for nowadays platforms, I guess. I already did a video previously about beginner writers, how beginner writers struggle with platforms, and basically you already know the basics. Always start with Wattpad if you're a writer. Anyways, but this time I'll talk about things that you should never expect and things you should do while in invisible stage. Let me just say, if you are going through the invisible stage, you are not alone, definitely, because I too am in the same stage. Okay, why am I even talking? Because I'm invisible, so probably you all won't be able to see me, right? Yeah, but yeah, I'm still making, because at one time I always believe there will be a time that I'll be visible. So yeah, it's just for that time I'm making. It's just, you can say, preservation. So that should be your mindset. First of all, you should always think like this, that you may be invisible today, but that doesn't mean you'll be invisible forever. And that's exactly the reason I'm making the video, because I know it will be visible to everyone someday, and I'm not giving up. So well, first of all, the fact is, invisible stage is a pretty frustrating state, and let me just say, I myself haven't cleared that stage yet. Yeah, I'm also pretty early in the beginning, but let me say, for example, if you are writing stories, or you are probably the first, you are just creating something, maybe you are an artist or anything, and you are technically gonna find that if you're starting with any platforms, be it your writing platform, be it probably art platform, whatever, you are not gonna get any interactions, any comments, any engagements. So that will feel pretty frustrating. So that doesn't really mean that your work is not good. It just means that you are just new to the stage and it's not getting visible. That's the hard truth about platforms nowadays. And yes, platform algorithms are pretty complex, as I already mentioned in my previous video. So that does mean that if you're thinking of visibility, you can't expect that from platforms. Just keep on creating, that should be your focus. And that's basically what invisibility means. Even if you are invisible, keep creating. So, for example, even if you are posting your works on social media, let me just say, it will not work. If you think posting on social media will work, it will absolutely not. Or it may work. Depends on factors, depends on luck. Until unless you probably have a large following, it won't really work that well. Because let me say, for example, I'm taking the example of a writer because I feel more comfortable that way. So for example, take Wattpad. You're writing a story and you had written a story, or maybe completed a story, let me just say. If you have an ongoing story, you still have a chance of getting reads. But again, that's not guaranteed, because also Wattpad is technically filled with ongoing stories, which means people are not gonna trust you that easily if you are telling an ongoing story on Wattpad. But again, people do read, even though they know you may even betray in between. And yes, in many cases it's not betrayal, it's just like something like a writer's block. You are just stuck between the story. So yeah, that happens a lot. Wattpad is a practice platform, and there are many stories which you will find as ongoing. Happens. So even complete stories, let me just say, even if your story is completed, that doesn't mean you will get reads. No. People just, basically readers are just gonna see completed as like, well, there are no updates, so it's just static. And dynamic feels something like it's just going, it's still continuing and all. Just like you can say One Piece. One Piece is actually ongoing, which is why even now it's still being discussed. But complete a series if it's pretty good, just like Naruto, it will be discussed. Obviously, Boruto is going on again. Yeah, there are older animes which also gets discussed because yeah, it has got a lasting impact. That matters too. But the fact is, at the end of the day, you should never burn yourself out of all those promotions. Let me just say, if every beginner does the same mistake, they promote a lot. And let me just say, that's gonna harm you negatively. It's not gonna boost you anyways. Like, don't do one thing. Let me just say, spamming links is the first thing that you should never do. Why? For example, there are people posting something on tweets, like anime discussions, and you are just posting a story saying, hey, check out my story, here's a link. It's gonna get ignored simply, or maybe one or two curious eyes can see, and well, it's basically called spamming anyways. Even if you like, basically what spamming is called, you can just posting links everywhere is called spamming, but yes, posting on unrelated sites like anime discussions can also be regarded as spam. So definitely don't do that. It's actually one of the biggest mistakes that you should avoid, because that can also make you look bad, right? Yeah, so obviously if you want to advertise, do it with some descriptions. I mean, if you want to advertise or self-promote, you have to give descriptions about what the story is and what you will like. But again, that doesn't mean people are gonna see it. It's still gonna be getting ignored. I mean, many people just sweep through, and actually the mainstream is pretty common, so indie writers or someone who is just starting out, people generally don't see their works. Many just skip through, and there will be some curious people who are always searching for beginners. They're wanting to try their works, and they are going to be rare in numbers. If you talk about the general audience, you will never get them. General audience can only be possible if your work slowly gets traction and it slowly reaches their ears. It depends on those factors. So yeah, general audience is, let me just say, it's pretty far. The next thing that you should remember is spamming links is alright. Now, next thing, you shouldn't blackmail people, right? And what I mean by that is like, hey, you didn't check my story, you will regret it, you're gonna get cursed. If you say words like that, then obviously it's gonna ruin your reputation. I mean, why are they gonna spend time on your work? Just think about it. If you just force me, who is specifically watching something like an anime, and you are telling, just check out my story, you have to check it or you are gonna be cursed. No, it's not gonna work like that. So specifically, if you say words like that or some blackmail, people are just gonna ignore. I mean, who believes in such stuff, right? That's the thing you should absolutely avoid. Alright, and another thing. There are many scams that happens on Wattpad. I already mentioned previously about it. So if you are getting comments like, hey, you need to connect with me on this channel, on Instagram, on Facebook, etc., then definitely don't. Because you're gonna just say that, well, do it on the platform. If you want to contact, you already have the platform. Why do you need to transform yourself? I mean, I don't want to transform myself to any other platform except Wattpad, or maybe wherever you are posting your work, I guess. So I don't have an Instagram, just say it like that. I don't use Facebook. No, I'm uncomfortable with WhatsApp, and you can say I use email for official purposes. Yeah, be a bit professional towards them, and that will actually build your reputation rather than spoil it. Just do it politely. Just don't say that, hey, get the hell out of here. Don't use those words, okay? Just be respectful. Even if they're scammers, be respectful. That's what matters. I know you can easily understand the scammers, but if you want to be polite, I think that's the better strategy. Be polite. There are many scammers out there, and I know. Yeah, even if you're not polite, that's not gonna harm you, but it will make you look a bit bad. I mean, the language. So to keep your reputation, I feel you should always tell them that way, because there are chances that maybe even the scammers could be good people who are just unintentionally sending messages like that. There is a little chance, but it's totally possible. So I would obviously recommend going with the politeness. Is politeness is always better. You can always ignore the message if you are not wanting to comment. It's totally up to you. So scam comments still like this. Use polite comments that, sorry, I'm not free. Sorry, I am only comfortable with this platform. They say, I mean, let me just say, scammers are gonna understand and they just say, okay, and they're just gonna leave. They're gonna give up. And yeah, there are some people who are a bit persistent and they're gonna say, hey, you won't connect, you will regret it and all. But there are pretty rare cases, and there are some people who will say that they're just gonna think as if you are not understanding, and they're gonna just try to blackmail you that you are missing out on readers. But always say, I prefer organic discovery. That's the best strategy, let me just say. Organic discovery always beats trends. So let me just say, always use that strategy when people are just gonna say they're gonna boost your readership, because that totally works. Now another thing is, well, focus more on story compared to, or focus more on your work compared to promotion. I already said, if you are just trying to build AI images or maybe use some advertisements, yeah, do it. But keep little time for that. You can probably spend 10% of your time advertising, 90% of your time on work. That's the best strategy, let me just say. It is the best strategy. You can always spend time on promotion, and rather is recommended, because with promotion it just helps you get discovered faster. So yeah, you should definitely promote, but you have to do it subtly and obviously with respect, in a respectful way, not like in a discussion between foods. Well, I like this food and all, and you're suddenly posting, hey, if you like food, check out my fantasy story. I mean, what has fantasy got to do with food? So it's technically like that. So definitely don't go with those unrelated posts, and definitely don't waste your time promoting compared to, I mean, many people do 90% promotion, 10% work, and that's definitely not going to work. And if you are focus more on completion, if you complete your work, that will be more beneficial compared to promotion. Promotion should be kept only after you complete the work. If you have got enough time, you've got enough free time, do promote. Promote with all your might, let me just say. And yeah, you can also focus on creating more stories compared to promotion. That will keep you motivated, and it specifically works to keep you going. That matters more, let me just say, and focus more on permanence. Permanence can beat anything. If your work is permanently on platforms, then well, you can gain the fame gradually. Gradual fame is what you should target. First, you can find, like, I don't know why I'm even advising when I'm in my invisible stage, but I still keep going. And yes, staying consistent or whatever, but I'll say you don't have to stay consistent, but just keep going and don't give up. The motivation should not fade. That's all. I don't know what I should call this podcast, really. Like, anyways, I just get too lost between words. So yeah, anyways, I hope you liked it. If you have anything to say, do say it in the comments. It was not really a podcast, let me just say. It was just a random talk. Okay, I also have to come up with a title of the video. I don't know what I will give. You are probably seeing the title right now. I don't know. Anyways, hope to see you all in the next video. And if you like, you can also check my other podcasts. There are too many of them. I hope you will like it and maybe get motivated by them. They are definitely not self-promotion. Alright, anyways, thanks all.